This is ACC College Hoops, and tonight's presentation of ACC basketball is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Peterson Event Center is the site of our game tonight in the ACC as the Panthers try to defend the home court against the visiting Virginia Tech Hokies. The number 16 team in the nation, the Hokies, have won the last 5 meetings between these two programs. It is so great to have you with us for our game tonight of the ACC. Tom Wormy, along with the All-American from Duke, Mike Jaminski. And for the Panthers, Mike, a huge win against Duke. But since that point, they've struggled. They've lost 3 in a row.
And 2 of them here at home, so a huge game tonight for them, and suffering the hangover of beating a Duke or beating a North Carolina. And Virginia Tech trying to avoid the same thing after just beating Virginia.
Couple of players to watch tonight are potential Player of the Year candidates in the ACC, and we start with Kevin Aluma.
And both very versatile on the offensive end of the floor. Aluma at 6'9", can knock down shots inside, also step out, stretch the floor, and shoot the 3. Also has a great knack for getting to the free throw line.
Double-doubles in his last 2 games for Aluma, leading Virginia Tech. On the other side of the coin is Justin Champagnie. Not only does he lead the team in scoring and rebounding, but also leads the ACC.
And incredible, at 6'6", he's doing that. Really rebounding well above his size. He also a very versatile player, can knock down the 3 and also finish at the rim.
Should be a fantastic matchup between those 2 guys on the inside. They're part of our Honda startup. And if you look at the bottom, they also represent the last 2 selections for Player of the Week in the ACC. Virginia Tech is rolling. It has won 5 of its last 6 games under second-year head coach Mike Young. Can they keep it going tonight? And can Pitt end the 3-game losing streak? We'll have those lineups and the tip. This is ACC basketball. It's the Panthers and the Hokies straight ahead from the Steel City.
Grubhub Perks getting
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the ACC tonight in the starting lineups, and they are presented by your local Toyota dealer. Jalen Cone gets his 3rd start in a row after coming off the bench for most of this season. Bit of a struggle for Cone recently, but he is second best in 3-point shooting in the ACC. Pitt, home white, traveling orange for Virginia Tech. And coming off of that monster win, G-Man against Virginia, the number 8 team in the nation at the time, and that was on Saturday.
Yeah, they're obviously their biggest in-state rival and biggest rival in the conference. And Mike Young talking about the hangover effect that might have. And Pitt, I hate to go must win halfway through the year, but this one extremely important.
Hokies number 16 in the country, 13-3 on the season. They went 9 of 18 on 3-point chances and shot 51% in the win against Virginia. A misfire on their opening possession. Wabisa Beatty at the controls for Virginia Tech. Critical player on the defensive end as well, according to Mike Young.
And interesting, Xavier Johnson not starting in this game. Had started every game up to this point, but struggled over his last 2 scoring.
Odekale got the start for the Panthers, who produced the turnover. First start of the season for number 2 with the basketball, Femi Odekale, the freshman from Brooklyn, New York.
Pitt will look to be a lot more up-tempo than Virginia Tech in this game, so they want to grab control of it, play a little more up.
Trying to back it in with Coulibaly, and whistle and foul on the play. Mutz, 25 in orange, picks up that first foul. Xavier Johnson, the junior from Woodbridge, Virginia, as Mike mentioned, had started every game and had started 78 times in his Pitt career prior to tonight.
We just got the sense in Jeff Capel's voice that he had to do something to shake things up. And, some guys don't react to coming off the bench well. We'll have to keep an eye on him.
Very kind bounce. Coulibaly starts our scoring early in this first half for the Panthers. Cone.
Hey, that may be a sign. That was a rocket of a shot for 3, and he banks it in straight away.
Wow, 3-pointer for Cone, who in last year's meeting, a victory for Virginia Tech between the teams, made 4 3-point baskets.
Well, speaking of 4, he's 4 of his last 23 coming into this game.
Champagnie gets into the scoring column very quickly.
Historically, he's actually a quintessential Pitt player. I mean, 6'6", but really strong on the glass, all phases of the game.
Champagnie averages over 20 points per game, over 12 boards. Aluma didn't have enough on that shot. So the Panthers are 8-5, 4-4 in conference play. And there's a whistle. Be a foul against Beatty, his first. Panthers are 5-4 in their home court. Odekale at the free throw line. All right, time for the forward keys to the game tonight between Pitt and Virginia Tech with Mike Jaminski.
Yeah, Todd, for Virginia Tech, they've got to defend without fouling, and I think the free throw line is going to be a big key in this game. And for Pitt, they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the conference. They've got to rule the offensive glass.
Panthers second overall in rebounding in the league behind North Carolina, and defend without fouling is exactly what Virginia Tech did against Virginia. They committed just 8 fouls in the course of that game, and this whistle is going to go against the Hokies. Jalen Cone, first personal within the first 3 minutes of our first half.
This is the last thing he wanted after he knocked down that bank 3 to get himself going in this game, to pick up a cheap foul.
Jalen Cone tied for second in the conference in made threes, despite the recent struggles that Mike documented. Panthers try to increase their lead, and that one goes to Beatty.
This Mike Young singing BB's praises today when we talked to him. He's really the leader of this team.
Jalen Cone tried another straightaway 3, came up empty this time.
Stick with the bank shot.
Use that glass. And they'll get another chance on the Pitt miss. Virginia Tech averages about 8 made threes per game, right in the middle of the conference on average.
And that's what you'll see. They'll walk it up. Unless they get a steal out front or an obvious break situation, they'll be very deliberate on offense.
Beatty, shot clock's inside of 10. Aluma wanted to cross it over, had to regather, and now Beatty sizes up a 3.
Aluma kind of dribbled him into trouble that time. He couldn't get a shot. Good solid defense against him. And normally they've got a bigger cover on him at 6'9". He can get his own shot.
Champagnie has to hand it off. Odekale, number 2 in white, did not score in the game against Notre Dame. And that was a big win from the Irish, 84-58 against this Pitt team. That on Saturday in the last game for the Panthers. So the whistle stops play. We'll take a timeout. Panthers and Hokies, ACC Hoops. Panthers have a 6-3 lead early in the first half against the visiting Hokies. January 19th, a win for the Panthers on this floor, 79-73 against Duke, but struggles since then, G-Man.
Yeah, you see it, especially on the defensive end of the floor, giving up almost 80 points a game. And Jeff Capel talked about 3 things: playing hard, playing tough, and playing together. He said they had a swagger against Duke, and then they got a little fat and happy with the press clippings. And so shake up in the starting lineup tonight and see how that pays dividends.
He brought it to our attention right away, though. He knew that was certainly a possibility with his team. And for Mike Young's part, he's worried about that big win against Virginia as Aluma scores, and that his team doesn't experience a dip in productivity.
Well, there's a couple ways you can double team down inside, and that time they waited on the first bounce to go at Aluma. They may have to go at him a little bit earlier.
Panthers are 2-3 in conference on their home floor. Champagnie extending the range. Aluma pulled it in.
And given the choice, if I'm guarding him, Tom, I want him to take jump shots. I mean, he draws fouls inside, scores. I'll take my chances with the 3.
Hunter Couture into the lineup. Aline misses from the near corner. Xavier Johnson's come into the game for the Panthers. And that is going to be offensive foul on the drive. Odekale picks up the foul and exits the game almost immediately.
You see, I'd be interested to see how Johnson is going to react to coming in the game right now. And you get into a good vibe starting, and he's basically started his whole career. And, you know, you get it. Your team needs to have something shaken up and come in and try to do the same things you always do. It's not that easy.
Yeah, Johnson had 5 points and 1 board and went 2 of 5 from the floor against Notre Dame. Aluma puts it on the deck, drives and scores, and he got clipped and he's going to the free throw line.
That's the thing. He can get to the line and do a nice job. They cleared out that right side for him, and he had the whole half of the court to operate. There's the look. You see the run through, and then he just fakes the handoff, and there's nobody underneath to give him any help.
First foul on Coulibaly. Keve Aluma, almost 15 points per game as a 69% free throw shooter. 29 points on Saturday, a career high against Virginia. Mike, he was 10 of 15 from the floor and had 10 rebounds as well. What a day for Keve Aluma, and his teammates produced the steal.
I'll tell you what, I mean, nationally, not a lot of people are giving Virginia Tech a whole lot of love, and they deserve it. This is the number 16 team in the country.
Champagny with a forceful rebound after the miss by Aline on the drive. And Johnson kept the footing.
Couture going to get hit with the foul.
Tried to get the ball to Tony on the baseline, number 5 in white. Couture came into the game after the last stoppage of play.
Already 4 personal fouls on the Hokies.
And we mentioned they had only committed 8 against Virginia. Horton misses. Champagny cleans it up.
That air ball was just virtually a pass to Champagny because nobody for Virginia Tech went after the ball and went right in his hands.
Champagny with 19 points, 11 rebounds, 7th double-double against Notre Dame in the losing effort, and that will be an easy layup. Audi's Tony puts it in for the Panthers.
Well, those are the turnovers that Virginia Tech has to avoid. Those pick sixes, anything out front. They got away with the double dribble.
Aline almost lost it. Back to Aluma. Too strong with the 3.
And see, he's a guy, he can pick and roll, which he did the prior time, or pick and pop.
He's able to dig that one out for the Hokies. Aluma can't shoot the 3. He's made 11 this season, despite that miss on the last trip down the floor for Virginia Tech. Trailing by 2, 12:40 to go, first half.
We were talking before, though, Tom, that in the ACC, he's been shooting only 16%. So people recognizing that, guarding him a little bit closer behind the three-point line.
Faked at the line, drove into a triple team. Shot clock's at 2. Aluma still dribbling. Did he get rid of it?
I thought it was close, and they're calling it a shot clock violation.
Very close as he drove down the lane with the shot clock winding down.
Boy, it looked like it was out of his hands. You see, it was tough to see the shot clock in that frame, but behind the basket, but it looked like he got it out. It's a tough call.
So Aluma out of the game for Virginia Tech. The 3 attempt glanced the rim by Johnson.
And you see coaches now, they'll give players like that who are going to play heavy minutes to blow around the TV timeouts, the 12-minute mark, the 8-minute mark. Try to get them some extended time sitting down.
Nowhere to go for Gasson. Couture missed. That was Johnson who hit the court. And a foul was called. So we'll sort it out when we come back. We've got a 2-point game.
ACC Hoops is brought to you by the Works Landroid Robotic Lawnmower. Step into the future of lawn care and check mowing off your to-do list for good. Available at mylandroid.com. CPI Security. And Honda Dealers of the Carolinas.
16th season inside this magnificent building for the Pitt program. They win 79% of the time, and right now they have a 2-point lead against the number 16 team in the nation, the Virginia Tech Hokies. 11:44 to go in our first half.
I miss sitting in front of the Oakland Zoo.
I certainly do too, Mike.
It's great. I was given an Oakland Zoo T-shirt.
Yes, I have one of those in the closet somewhere as well.
I'm an honorary member, as we both are.
It's so good to us when we come here to Pittsburgh and all the venues throughout the ACC, but we miss being courtside, certainly, but we're happy to be in the building somehow. Yeah,
we've been fortunate that. And, on Castle Coliseum, I can't imagine that with nobody in there. I mean, such a great home court venue.
Yeah, the home court just not what it normally is, obviously, for these teams. Pitt is 0 for 5 on three-pointers, and that bounces out from Horton. Still looking for that first three.
Good find out of the double team that time by Champagne. He just couldn't get the shot to drop.
This is Mutz. Champagne guarding him. Cone missed. So after making his first shot and banking it in from straight away, he's missed his last two. And now Johnson. There's your first three for the Panthers.
And he's not a great three-point shooter, but Odekala is not, he does not have that type of range. So you've got that element that you have to guard him out there.
19th made three of the season for Xavier Johnson. That's Mutz leaving Champagne in his wake.
I tell you, that's a tough thing to defend in on the post when a guy faces you up. And he used the pump fake extremely well.
Justin Mutz, the redshirt junior from Millville, New Jersey, to move on the inside against the Pitt defense. Another three-point attempt, and that bounces off for Horton.
And both those guys, Horton and Johnson, all started every game for Pitt up to this point.
A little mix-up in that starting lineup. A little wrinkle for Coach Capel, but that's Mutz again, Mike.
They're doing some great work on the low post, and the focus on Aluma actually, obviously, but right now Mutz, he might need a double team.
Mutz averages about 7.5 points per game. Scored 4 and had 8 boards in the win against Virginia on Saturday, and that is all net. Xavier Johnson.
Well, he gets the look. Couture has to go in and double team, and anytime you do that on the same side of the court, it leaves that three-point shooter open.
So, Mike, you were wondering how he might respond to being left out of the starting lineup. He's got a couple of three-point baskets here in the first half since coming into the ballgame.
He's going to play his way into a coming off the bench role.
That's the role that Jalen Cone has played for the vast majority of the season. Tyrese Radford suspended from the program for now, and that's why Cone has been in the starting lineup. And that is Mutz again up on the rim, Mike.
Really owning the inside right now, scoring on the low block and then getting the offensive rebound.
Mutz does have a double-double this season, 14 and 11 in the game against Notre Dame. That one, an attempted save by Couture, and the Hokies have it.
Yeah, Champagne, he was in there 1-on-5 almost, and almost came up with the ball.
Hokies overcame an 8-point halftime deficit to score 44 points in the second half against the best defensive team in all of the ACC in Virginia.
And then one of the best teams in the country. Teams have some trouble scoring 44 in a game against them.
They shot 61% in the second half, although Mutz did miss that one. They were up over 60% shooting against Virginia. There's Johnson again forcing his way. 8 points now.
Xavier Johnson, and he wanted a foul. He is really revved up right now looking for his offense.
Bill Covington Jr., Pat Driscoll, Jeffrey Anderson, our officiating crew for this evening in Pittsburgh. Cone leaping from behind the line, and he hits the three.
I asked my guy, I said, are you doing anything with him and his confidence? He said, nope, I'm just leaving him alone. And, but for shooters, the worst thing, Tom, is to stop shooting. You can't. You never not shoot your way out of a slump. You shoot your way out of it. And he's off to a good start here so far.
Cone was 2 of 6 from three-point real estate in the win against Virginia. That's a tough angle. And a basket for Horton, as Johnson had the last 8 points prior to the basket by Horton there.
2 starters coming in and trying to get revved up.
So there's a timeout on the court. 3-point game. Xavier Johnson off the bench with 8 points. Xavier Johnson off the bench playing 8 minutes and 8 points, including a couple of threes.
He really came in, not really forcing the offense, but things just opened up for him, and they were challenging him to make threes, double teaming off of him, and he's been getting some really good looks. And then this tough shot off the dribble, getting the contact, was looking for the foul. But you know what? Jeff Capel may have done this for other reasons. That you look at Xavier Johnson, he's second on the team in fouls, and he's been disqualified twice. Maybe it keeps him from getting that cheap foul early and extends his minutes on the floor. And then, Mike Young on the other hand, Beatty picked up that early foul. He's their best defensive player. When do you come back with him to go against Johnson?
Johnson also leading the conference in assists per game, up over 6 per. He's got 1 tonight so far.
Yeah, Beatty's back in the game, so this is going to be an excellent matchup, defense against offense.
Panthers have attempted 10 threes, and the 2 makes are both from Xavier Johnson, coming off the bench tonight. Cone and Mutz both have 6 points to lead the way for Virginia Tech. Aluma has 5. He's got the basketball right now.
And the clear out.
Keve Aluma had to go to the safety valve, and Beatty. 2-man game, they lose the handle. Nice little pass by Johnson, recovering defensively, Aluma.
Great recovery, chase down from behind. But watch down this, and Pitt is doubling off of Beatty. They're going to go at Aluma, they're going to double team off of him.
Aluma rattles home the 3.
So he says, all right, no double team in the post, I'm going to step out, knock down a triple.
8 points for Keve Aluma. Transfer from Wofford to the redshirt junior.
He only took 1 3 his first 2 years, and he's become a 3-point shooter this year, which is at that position something you have to have.
Panthers come back with a 3. It's Xavier Johnson, and he's into double digits with 11.
He's heading toward, he had 27 earlier this year against Drexel, heading toward a game like that already.
He's into double digits for the 9th time this season and 60th time in his career. Turnaround from Aluma, long rebound right back to him, and now Cone. This is Cone. Catch and release is short. Rebound from Tony.
I can see a little bit of a change in him though, Tom. He's a little more aggressive, a little more free with that jump shot.
Again, Johnson with a nifty pass, but a miscommunication out of bounds towards that Virginia Tech bench, and it will be Hokie basketball. So Johnson, the offensive spark, off the bench tonight for Pitt, with 5:41 to go in our first half. Tom Worley, Mike Jaminski, our outstanding ACC college basketball production crew with you from Peterson Event Center. Aluma in the paint got fouled.
It's really nice to watch their offense because they clear out, they give Aluma a lot of room to work, and then they space their shooters on the other side in case there's a double team.
So Tony picked up the foul for Pitt. Aluma, 69% on the season from the free throw line. Double-doubled against Virginia was his 2nd in a row. Also had one at Notre Dame. Champagny.
You lock up, I'm calling a foul. Thank you.
We'll keep an eye on him. We talked about the free throw line. Aluma's he's had double-figure free throw attempts 3 times this year.
3 times this season, Aluma's gotten 20 points or more.
And that's the most efficient way to do it. You get to the free throw line 8 or 10 times, and the points add up.
Beatty comes flying in to grab it for the Hokies. So just a 1-point game. closely contested in our first half. This is Cone. He's open for three. Money from Cone.
What slump was I in? He's already made almost as many threes as he had in the prior 4 games combined.
Short memory for Jalen Cone, who went 2 of 6. You've got 3-pointers against Virginia, Mike.
You've got to have that shooter's amnesia. Great take off the dribble.
Johnson with a wicked crossover to the left. 13 points. Xavier Johnson.
It's going to go down as points off the bench, but we know the deal, and we knew that he was going to play starter minutes.
He might not come out again. Entry pass Aluma, quick double, doesn't stop him. So nimble with the basketball, Mike.
Well, and how do you guard him? Because he's shown he's got that jump hook with both hands. That time scoring with the left, he can shoot the three, he can put the ball on the floor. Really a tough cover.
Beatty was trying to recover, and he may have committed the foul. He did. It's a second on Beatty.
That's a big, now Mike Young, a decision. Do we take him out? It looks like he's going to come back with Couture, who's not as, he can score the basketball for sure, but not as good a defender.
So Couture in. Wabisa Beatty, the graduate student from North Andover, Massachusetts, and Cushing Academy in Ashburnham, Mass, comes out of the lineup in favor of Hunter Couture, who had originally signed with Wofford once Coach Young got the job and left Spartanburg, South Carolina, to go to Blacksburg. He went with him. That's a three. Horton.
Both of those guys who normally started coming off the bench in this game and making a statement here.
So straight away with that three, Horton, the leading three-point shooter for the Panthers.
When
Hokies leading scorer in the first half, Keve Aluma, 12 points on 4 of 7 shooting.
You see the double team there, Tom, and just kind of went away, and he loves to work on both sides of the floor. Usually a player will have one side that he favors, but he's done some great work on the right-hand side, and here is the pick and pop. That's an alternative to the pick and roll that he's also used in the game. Just a tough guy to defend. Here's a look. It's great position and a quick move.
Right through the Pitt double team and into double figures in scoring for Aluma. He's got 12 tonight. That's 14 times this season to get to double digits, and that leads the team. Keve Aluma shooting 49% from the floor on the season and leading the Hokies in scoring and rebounding. Lean recovers it. Shot clock to 10. Mutz found the open man, a lean for 3 out of the corner. Mutz able to preserve the possession to Couture.
3 smaller guards out there playing with the 2 bigs inside, and Mutz and Aluma.
Shot clock now at 8. Aluma trying to back his way in. Couture launching a 3. Back iron and Johnson now. About this first half for Johnson. 13 points, 5 of 6 from the floor, and he's connected on 3 3-point baskets.
In about 13 minutes, too.
Exactly right, G-Man. A point a minute for Johnson.
Not bad.
They went around the horn, back to Johnson. It's offline. Aluma had the rebound. Able to take it away from Brown. Brown's the shot blocker defensively, 21 in white for the Panthers. Brown 4th in school history as he defends Aluma in blocks. And he got a little bit overzealous in his defending and picks up the personal Terrell Brown.
And Aluma's he's had 3 different guys defend him so far, so they're going to throw bodies at him. And Brown is a guy who can give you 5 fouls out there, be physical.
164 career blocks for Brown. Got his hands full tonight, though, as does the entire Pitt defense with Aluma. Cone misses. Champagny the outlet Johnson.
Well, but if you're Brown, you know you can be as physical as you want to be in this game.
Johnson got fouled. That'll be a lean. All right, Mike, time for CPI security, protecting the paint. And it's Terrell Brown with those career numbers.
And that's not with huge minutes either.
No.
He's averaging 9 minutes a game this year.
Although he's played a lot of basketball in his Pitt career, this is his 110th game in a Panther uniform. Out of the Tilton School in New Hampshire, he's originally from Providence, Rhode Island. So Johnson does the work at the free throw line. 2-point lead for Pitt, 14 points in the first half. Xavier Johnson. Mutz, man on an island.
And everybody left him too, and he kind of got a wide open shot just because.
Call an offensive foul. Was it Johnson on a push-off there, Mike? Maybe extended that right arm as he tried to drive and dish.
Yep, trying to get a little aggressive, and here's the play. Yeah, that's an easy call too. When you're out front like that, you're in plain sight of at least two referees.
Third year for Coach Capel. Great passing inside, and Mutz will go on a rim bender.
Great high-low action that time by the Hokies.
Mike, that's 8 points from Mutz in the first half. He's already above his season average of 7.6 per game. We've been tied 4 times now. 5 lead changes in this first half. Largest lead for the Panthers was 5. Johnson.
Couture with really good defense.
There's only 5 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, here's that high-low action. Talk about Aluma, all the things that he can do in that beautiful little dump down from the high post.
Couture recovering defensively. Hunter Couture, sophomore from Orlando, Florida. There is a timeout on the court, tied at 29. And as you alluded to, Mike, very early in this broadcast, this game tonight of the utmost importance to the Panthers at 8-5 on the season, 4-4 in conference play, but they've lost 3 in a row to Notre Dame, North Carolina, and at Wake Forest.
And and Jeff Capel, as we talked about, was very frank about the letdown that his team had after beating Duke, and instead of validating that, which is what Mike Young talked about today, he said, "Hey, we want to validate that win against Virginia by coming in here and getting another W." So I think both teams are, they're obviously you're playing for a lot in every game in this conference, but. There are little side stories for both teams.
Champagny off the inbounds. Quick release, and the foul will keep us at this end of the floor against the Hokies.
Lean picks that up, and Tony aggressively trying to go. We talked about the offensive rebounding, and he picks that up by going after the basketball.
Second on a lean, Mike.
Yeah, see, and then, he got caught against the bigger player inside and said, I think I'll use my backside to get him out.
Whistled for the infraction. Audis Tony at the free throw line after the foul against the lean.
But it took Tech. I thought they were in jeopardy of getting into bonus early, and they've really kind of lasted for most of the half without that.
Junior from Huntsville, Alabama, converts at the free throw line. Tony's a double-digit scorer as well, almost 15 points per game for Audis Tony. We're inside of a minute to play in our first half. A lead, the fake and the free throw line. Both sides of the rim for a lean, and here comes Pitt. 38 seconds to go. Panthers 5-1 this season with the halftime lead if they can maintain it. Johnson dribbled into a congested area. His pass off of the fingertips of Audi's Tony out of bounds.
He had a decent look at the rim. I'm surprised he didn't take the shot that time. Instead of trying to make the pass, he gets a turnover.
6th turnover of the half for Pitt. Appears that the Hokies will be content with the final shot of the first half. Couture got it back from Mutz. Loops it in. Aluma slightly off balance. Follow
Mutz
before the horn, and it's Mutz. How about 10 points in the first half for Mutz? And he was crashing the glass to get that last bucket and tie us at 31. Get your popcorn ready. Cone off the backboard and in. We had everything in that first half, and it all adds up to a tie ball game. 31 all, Virginia Tech and Pitt. Our halftime report straight ahead, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is the Toyota halftime report from Peterson Event Center. A little fresh dusting of snow last night into the wee hours of the morning, and we're tied at 31 on an evening in the ACC. How about Xavier Johnson coming off the bench? A little wrinkle in that starting lineup. He did not start, but he had 14 points in 16 minutes.
Yeah, it was very aggressive and also very efficient, Tom. And got a good look off the double team there to knock down the threes. Taking the ball off the dribble. Again, we talk about a guy who he shoots it well enough that you have to respect it, and that opens up the drive for him.
3 made three-pointers as well for Johnson on 5 attempts, including that one right there. Ripping the ropes for Xavier Johnson, and 14 points to lead all scorers in our first half. Tied at 31, we're coming back on the Toyota halftime report from Peterson Event Center. The Toyota halftime report continues from Peterson Event Center. 31 all, Hokies and Panthers. The Hokies led by second-year head coach Mike Young. Spent 17 years in the Southern Conference as the head coach at Wofford, and now doing incredible things with the Virginia Tech basketball program.
This is Driven, Mike Young. Presented by your local Toyota dealers.
Coach, you've been around the ACC for a long time as the head coach at Wofford and played many ACC teams, well aware of the league. But last year, you step it up a little bit with that first year in the ACC. Maybe the things that you encountered, that you expected, that you didn't expect, and what you took away from year one.
I think as much as anything, Tom, there is no break. There's no night off. There's not a night when you can play just okay and expect to win. You can play really good basketball and still come up on the wrong end of it. I always knew watching, all these ACC games throughout my career, the daily grind, having your team perform at a really high level, which is required. That struck me as the most challenging thing, but it's fun.
It's certainly going to be a challenging 2021. Maybe you could tell us how the protocols and guidelines are affecting Virginia Tech basketball and all the support staff around your program.
It's an interesting time, Tom. Never in a million years did I think I'd be coaching in a mask, taking my temperature when I came in the building. Just different for our players, for our staff, and spacing on the floor. We talk about offensive spacing. We're talking about personal spacing more as much as we're talking about offensive spacing.
The one thing, though, that will be a byproduct of all the pandemic protocols and the guidelines that we must follow is the lack of fans, and maybe limited amount of fans during the course of the season. What kind of factor do you believe that might be?
I think it'll be a huge factor here, Tom. This is an incredible home court advantage. You're going to have the same thing at Cameron. You're going to have the same thing at the Smith Center in Chapel Hill and other places. It's less than ideal, but just where we are right now as a country, and in an attempt to keep everyone safe, it's the right decision was made, and that's all that matters to me.
Driven, Mike Young, is presented by your local Toyota dealers. the new 2020 Toyota 4Runner. Visit Toyota.com for more information.
Back on the Toyota halftime report. Snowy Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 31 all. Hokies and Panthers. Hokies, the number 16 team in the nation. The first ranked opponent this year for Pitt. They fought them hard in the first half. Panthers built a 5-point lead. Hokies come back, tie it right before the horn. And two star players going at it. And right now, Keve Aluma getting the better of Justin Champagnie, Mike.
Yeah, Champagnie is, not scored the ball while rebounding, but Aluma all of his tools were on display. The moves in the paint allowed him to get a couple of dribbles inside, and then also able to step out on that pick and roll, pick and pop, and also off the drive as well. Really a gifted offensive player, and there's the newfound range this year from three-point land.
1 of 2 on three-point chances for Aluma. Double teams, triple teams, they couldn't stop him. He had 12 points. It was Xavier Johnson who led the way with 14. And Justin Champagnie, Mike, 0 for 2 from 3 and 4 points.
Yeah, he's been quiet. Only 5 field goal attempts in that first half, so you'd think he'd be a little bit more featured in the offense in his next 20 minutes. But he does have 7 rebounds and an assist as well, so getting on the glass, which we know he always does.
Yeah, leads everybody with those 7 boards. He's also the leader in the ACC in rebounding overall this season. Tied at 31 in the numbers from the first half. The Panthers shooting it a little bit better, in both teams 4 of 14 from three-point distance. Virginia Tech with the advantage in the paint. We thank you for watching the Toyota Halftime Report. Second half straight ahead, Virginia Tech and Pitt. Moments away from the start of our second half of basketball. In the ACC midweek 31 all, Hokies and Panthers. Hokies have won the last 5 meetings between the teams. And the leading scorer is Aluma, as he often is.
The only scorers.
Yeah, that's right. That's all you need is those 3 names in the first half, and they all almost got to double digits. And Xavier Johnson technically came off the bench to lead the way with 14 points.
And so did Horton, too. So that was that 19-0 stat. Were basically those 2 guys starters. But for Virginia Tech, obviously you want more balance. But for Cone, for him to be one of the guys in the mix and seeing a bigger basket is huge news for the Hokies.
Just 4 points in the first half for the leading scorer in the ACC. Justin Champagnie, 2 of 5 shooting. And the 14 points by Xavier Johnson leads all scorers in our game so far tonight. Panthers will put it in play in the white for the second half.
Johnson in his usual starting role for the second half. Tough angle to make that entry pass inside.
Panthers maintain possession. 42% from the floor as a team in the first half. That's exactly what they shoot for their season average, 42%, 14th in the ACC. Deep into the shot clock. Trying to take it all the way, collapsing defense. Aluma and his teammates, and they stop Horton on the drive.
Nice job of fronting Champagnie inside on the post later in the clock so he couldn't get the ball.
Bisa Beatty picked up 2 personals in that first half. He did not score, but you can say that about all but 3 players who got into the game in the first half for Virginia Tech. In fact, the rest of the team went 0 for 9. And now 0 for 10. Aluma over the top, took it away, and score it.
1 on 5 inside, and he gets the offensive glass. Terrific work.
14 points for Keve Aluma. Just below his season average of 14.8 per game. Gives Virginia Tech the 2-point lead early in our second half. Johnson dribbling to freedom, open space, missed the shot.
They're going to challenge him. You notice they went underneath those screens outside. They want him to be a jump shooter and not let him penetrate inside.
Aluma loops it down to Mutz, all in one motion, calculates the angle off the square, and 12 points for Mutz.
And I tell you what, Aluma is a terrific passer up on the high post. And those two have been really tough to handle for Pitt.
Three from the corner, hold that finish is Horton for three.
It's extra points from the judges for sticking the finish.
Style points for Horton, the redshirt sophomore to transfer from Delaware.
See, they're going to go on. They're going to let Beatty shoot. They were going to go underneath every screen with him.
So Horton now has 8 points. He's made a couple of three-point baskets. It's 106 for his career when you combine his production at Delaware. Miss Champagny tried to follow, and the indication from the official is that the foul is going against the Panthers.
So look, they like to get him isolated on that elbow, and just too easy. Cut across the face of the defender inside. Here's Horton. Here, look at that stick. Hold that for him.
Hit the all Horton. 8.6 points per game, his average. Had a 9-point, 3-rebound performance against Notre Dame in a losing effort on Saturday for Pitt. All of his field goal attempts were threes. Couture breaking loose underneath.
See, it's 6-9 again. It goes back to Aluma. The offense is basically running through him here in the second half, at least early, and he's making great decisions from the high post.
First points of the evening for Couture. Trying to defend Horton, who shoots it right over top of him for another three, and 11 points, double digits for Horton. So that's 28 made threes on the season for Horton, and that leads the club. Mutz. Horton is stepping in the passing lane for the steal. Tony, spin over Couture. Rattles out, and it's Mutz with one hand.
Yeah. Then, that time, again, you see Pitt wanting to push the pace up the floor. Had a decent look.
5 rebounds for Mutz. Aluma's got 7 to lead the team on the boards. Couture goes into the corner, and Johnson runs it down.
And the opposite of Beatty, Couture is the guy you have to honor outside on that shot. And a beautiful lob inside.
Tony missed the shot, and then a lean hit the floor, Mike.
Champagny going to pick up the foul that time. There's that look. You see, he baits him. He thinks he's going to come off the screen, and then the easy back cut. There's no help defensively. This is Horton. He loves that right side of the floor. 2 of his threes this half from that same corner.
3 made threes in the game for Horton. Tied 6 times, and 6 lead changes. Let's take a timeout. Tied again, 37 all.
This is Cellulose. ACC Hoops is brought to you by The Fresh Market. Discover the best today. Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. And Coyote Tractor. We dig dirt.
We hover over the Pittsburgh snow outside Peterson Event Center and tied at 37. Both of these teams right around 40% shooting for the game with 15:52 to go in our second half. And how about Horton? 3 3-pointers on 7 tries.
Normally, you're looking at Pitt with 39%, but we talked about how good an offensive rebounding team they were. Only 3 offensive boards in the game, so Virginia Tech doing a nice job of limiting second chance points.
Relatively clean game as well. Just 9 combined free throws from the teams so far. Aluma, range extender.
Just so many parts to his game, and especially adding that 3-point shot this year.
17 points, Keve Aluma.
If you put a smaller guy on him, then he just goes inside, and with bigger covers, he'll take him out behind the 3-point line.
Johnson turning around. Beatty able to muffle that shot and smother it, but right back to the Panthers.
And no clock turnover.
That's right. Gonna send it back out. 2 on the shot clock. Straight away in and out. Aline. Aluma. Got to respect that three-point shot.
He's got 4 assists too, so a passer when they double.
Aline scored the basket off balance and fouled with 2 seconds on the shot clock.
That's really a perfect possession for Virginia Tech. We talked about they're a little more deliberate than Pitt, but use 28 seconds of the clock and you get an and one.
86% free throw shooter. Second foul on Xavier Johnson to put Aline at the line. Be sure to stick around. The Ford fast break is still to come. We'll continue to examine our marquee matchup. Aluma and Champagny. Right now it's Aluma.
Champagny only with 1 shot in this half, and here's the second one.
Champagny trying desperately to get involved here in the second half after 4 points in the first half.
And see, you know, the thing they've been able to do too, Tom, is that Aluma has not had to guard him. So he didn't have to worry about getting in foul trouble. They've had other big bodies to put on Champagny.
And before we proceed, a moment from Coyote.
Not a single tractor ever been built that's better equipped to do the dirty work. Coyote, we dig dirt.
Champagny 66% of the season from the free throw line, making it a 4-point game. Tied at 31 at halftime. Hear that constant soundtrack of communication between these players as Couture misfires. Champagny up the ladder to grab the board.
You know, you say that, Tom, and I've always said you can watch good offense, but you can hear good defense, and it's that communication that makes up the difference.
Well said, G-Man. Odekale missed the shot. Looking for a second effort from Champagny and a save from Couture, and he got it to Mutz. That'll be off of Champagny. Thought he might have been pushed as he tried to plead his case to the official.
Here's the look in Champagny, working hard on the play, but the block shot by Mutz inside.
And he stayed with the play, G-Man, because Couture saved it to Mutz to keep the play alive. So Champagny in a quick conversation with Coach Capel.
Get that extra minute off the 12-minute timeout.
Mutz unable to spin that one off the glass. Johnson goes for a crossover and lay-in. Made it look easy, flying through the lane.
Well, and you got to think, you know, with Champagny out of the game now, that Johnson's going to want to score. Horton's going to want to step up as well as they did in that first half.
6 points for Champagny on the bench right now. 16 points for Johnson. He leads the Panthers. Aluma has 17 points and 8 boards. Foul on the play.
Be on Odekale.
Second on Odekale. Hokies working on a 2-game winning streak. Wins against Virginia and at Notre Dame. Held each of those teams to 51 points.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the offense for Virginia Tech. Haven't given them props for their defense.
Panthers trying to snap that 3-game losing streak. Shot just 31% from 3-point distance in that loss to Notre Dame. They'll work it inside. And Johnson.
I'll tell you what, Xavier Johnson is so strong.
They're not going to count the basket. It appeared that Pat Driscoll waved that hoop off as he chats with Coach Capel.
I didn't see an offensive foul called.
This is Johnson on the drive.
If there was an offensive foul, I didn't see it.
So we're tied at 43. And the bucket will stand, Mike. You've gotten further clarification.
Just an inadvertent whistle. Yeah, I think that looked like a pretty clean play.
This is Cone.
Yeah, that's the first look he's had in the second half.
Panthers run it up quickly. Lost the handle. Mutz was there to gather it as Johnson couldn't hang on.
He lost concentration. He was trying to grab it with one hand, looking to see what the play was, and never got control of the ball.
7 turnovers in the game for Pitt now. Couture all the way to the rim.
Aggressive, and you're playing him to step out and knock down threes, and he just turned the corner.
Hunter Couture, who does shoot 48% from beyond the arc.
And if you're Pitt, you want him shooting layups, and not that easy.
That was a little too easy, and gave Virginia Tech a 2-point lead as we step aside for just a moment. 11:37 to go in our second half. The Hokies have a 2-point lead with their impressive 13-3 record. And Justin Mutz, he is our Coyote Tractor turning point in this game for the Hokies, Mike.
Well, it comes in averaging 7.6 a game, has already got 12 so far, 2 in the second half, had a big first half. Always a solid rebounder, but giving the Hokies a little scoring punch inside.
Justin Mutz with the jam and our Coyote Tractor turning point. Had a big game against Miami this year, Mike. 15 points, 9 boards, both season highs. We told you he's a transfer from Delaware where he played 1 season.
I really like the way that he and Aluma work in that high-low action, too. I mean, Aluma's got 4 or 5 assists already in this game, 4 assists. And a lot of them have been to Mutz down low.
So Mutz is 6 of 10 from the floor as well with the 12 points. Aluma's got 17. They are the 2 players for Virginia Tech in double digits. Cone's right behind him with 9. And then 18 points for Xavier Johnson on 7 of 12 shooting, and he leads the way for Pitt. 38% shooting on the night for Pitt, 40% for Virginia Tech. Even the rebounding is pretty close, Mike. A 1 rebound advantage for the Panthers. Off the glass and good. Johnson turning up the energy and 20 points.
Going left that time, showing the ability to go both ways off the dribble. A little right-hand teardrop finish.
4th time this season, 20 points or more for Johnson. Off of the turnover.
That's good.
They're going to score that bucket. It was Johnson again. Flying to the rim, playing inspired basketball for the Panthers.
Here's the drive in the half court. He sizes him up, and this is just a clean take. 1-on-1 off the drive on the left-hand side, and then on the open floor, gets the pick before this, and just taking it strong. That's a good move, and Tony was there to clean it up, even if he did miss, but that was an offensive goaltending.
So a foul on Couture, and the basket was scored, so this is a chance at a 3-point play. And converted old school style by Xavier Johnson. This is after he scored 5 points, Mike, and was 2 of 5 from the floor in that loss against Notre Dame on Saturday, which Coach Capel classified as the worst effort of the season. And indicated in the score, the final line, 84-58, and they shot 31% as a team against the Irish for Pitt. Aluma fenced in, double and triple team, over the front rim and good.
Got away with a little bit of a drag on that pivot foot, but still under control enough and had good balance.
That's now 19 points for Keve Aluma.
No double team coming on that play either time.
There were some Pitt defenders in the vicinity, but not fast enough to get to Aluma. Basket and foul on the jumper. Femi Odekale. And Cone got the foul his second.
There's the look you see in the late double team. It really wasn't a double team. It just cut the baseline off, but nobody was coming down from the top, which is where he turned. And And there you tried to buy an offensive foul, and it gives the guy a look, and then you pick up a foul anyway. Now free throw line starting to become an advantage for Pitt. This will be their 10th attempt of the game.
They are at the bottom of the conference as a team, 66% and 15th in the conference. But they're getting to the line in the last 2 possessions. Couture trying to force his way, denied. Spinning Johnson a little bit out of control, but goes off of the Hokies in a lean, perhaps last touched it.
You've got to look up. I mean, it's one thing to have confidence in yourself, and that's a good thing. But you look up and you see a lot more of the other team's jerseys than yours. You got to wait for some help. He was lucky that didn't get a turnover.
So Pitt, to your point about the free throw line, Mike, 9 of 10 now. And Virginia Tech's only gone 4 times. They've made all of their free throws.
And all of those were in the first half.
It's a long distance 3. Johnson tried it. Didn't come away with it. Here's Couture. Jogs it up. Beatty has not scored in the game. Does have 4 assists. Over halfway through in this second half, and the shot clock is down to 7. Nifty dribble Aline. Couture is open in the corner, lets it fly, and spins it in. That's a clockwise swirl, down the net for 3.
Great spacing that time.
7 points for Couture.
That's how you get good looks.
Inside, behind that last line of defense, and again, it'll be 3 free throws for Pitt. That's Horton.
So look, you see, and because of that spacing, the defense got a little collapsed. They lost sight of where he was, and Couture is the one guy on the floor that you've got to keep an eye on, especially on the perimeter.
That's his first 3 of the game as well, Mike. He's 1 for 5 on 3-point shots and 7 points for Couture. Horton's at the free throw line. Substitutions. There's Champagny back in.
And barring foul issues, you'll see him for the rest of the game. Let's see from this 9-minute mark on, Tom, how he does offensively, if he's more of a factor than he has been.
So Champagny comes back into the game with 6 points and 2 personal fouls. He already has double-digit rebounds, Mike. He's got 10, which is a common occurrence for him. Couture, Aline.
Well, it tells you, the type of player, too. He's not going to mope. He's not scoring, but he's still going to do the other thing that he does really well, and that's rebound the ball.
Beatty is open from the wing.
And Pitt will live with that shot.
Beatty only shoots 37% from the floor. It was Johnson who hit the deck, and the foul on Aline. That's going to be his 4th.
Well, they've been trying to hide Beatty for, they're going to have to put him on to Johnson at some point in time.
Off the inbounds.
And Couture just got caught looking. He wasn't sure the ball was handed to the inbounder, and that was just an easy lob.
Claudi's Tony back to the free throw line for Pitt.
We talked about the little size advantage. There are short guards out there for Virginia Tech right now, and Tony has got some size at 6'6".
So Couture also picking up a foul there, and that's his 4th. So Couture has to leave the game. And bonus the rest of the way for the Panthers. You saw Couture come out of the game, just made a 3-pointer, but just 1 of 6 on 3s, and he's got 7 points. As Beatty brings it up. 5-point lead for the Panthers. This matches their largest lead of the game after we were tied at 31.
I mean, look at Johnson. He's basically playing center field off the Beatty. They're just clogging things up. No respect for the shot.
How about Aluma? You got to respect that 3.
Yeah, no, you have to get a hand up on him. And big guys aren't used to guarding out there, but you have to trust your teammates to give you a little help.
22 points to match his jersey number for Aluma. 4th time this season, 20 points or more, and that fake got 2 Hokies in the air. And Johnson is going over towards his own bench. We'll check on Johnson when we come back.
ACC Hoops is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. We resolve to help North Carolina stay healthy. Your local Ford dealer. And Continental Tire, for what you do.
Peterson Event Center, 5-4 home record for the Panthers. Slim lead right now, 55-53. And Xavier Johnson paid the price in this congested area.
It's some pump fake that time. Gets the knee and then the heel. I've seen that happen a lot.
And the best news for Pitt fans is that he stays in the game and he's at the free throw line.
We got 2 guys who were starters who didn't start tonight, who now have 36 of the 56 points for Pitt with Horton and Johnson.
So how about 25 points for Xavier Johnson? He leads everybody with that number. 4 or 5 from the line for Johnson. There's another whistle. I think it was right at the moment, Mike, where I said there'd only been 9 free throws in the game so far. And then it started to become a factor.
Well, and the thing, you had a sense that Pitt was going to get to the line, but shooting 13 of 15, that's above their season average. Nice look.
Champagny ended up on the deck.
Lutz with the back cut.
You're right about that free throw shooting, Mike. They only shoot 66% as a team. Not tonight. It's keeping them in the game in a 2-point lead.
And Virginia Tech is yet to go to the line this half.
Horton with a 3. 15 points. Eat the all Horton. Luma draws the double.
Yeah, and it's doubled off of Beatty. Okay, and the ball finds its way to the guy who can't shoot.
Shot clock at 8 for Mutz. Trying to get around Champagny, poked away.
Too many dribbles in the paint area.
I think Terrell Brown might have got a piece of that, Mike, to pry it free. He's in there, 21 in white. Defensive specialist. Another 3. It's Xavier Johnson. 28 points. And a timeout, Virginia Tech. It is the largest lead of the game for Pitt. 63-55. 28 points for Xavier Johnson. That's 4 of 7 on 3-pointers. And Johnson, whose career high is 30, knocking down the 3.
And I talked about earlier that you want to have him shoot jump shots, but he's forcing it in this game. He's only 30% from 3. However, 4 of 7 in the game so far, so you may have to change your tactic a little bit and come over the top with him.
Remember, Pitt started this game 0 for 9 from 3-point distance. They've made 8 of their last 12, and they've only turned it over once in 22 possessions in the second half. Aluma, not this time.
As I said in our break, that good timeout by Mike Young. This game has been very close the whole time, and then Pitt stretching out to 8 points. You want to try to come down and get a possession that counts.
Tony fighting for the loose ball, lays it up and in.
Yeah, they've been sending their perimeter players inside. It hasn't been Champagny, but Tony's got some size against the guy guarding him, so they're getting into the paint.
9 points. Audie's Tony, an 8-0 run for the Panthers. Cone, he misses out of the corner.
Well, referee went down in transition.
It's Pat Driscoll who went down on the sideline.
He went down right where he's standing. I don't know if he get. You see, there's a cutout in the floor right there. I don't know if he caught an edge.
Might be some utility hookups underneath the floor there, Mike, and that's where they get to those sources.
Yeah, he just kind of went. He just fell down. He was going back in transition with the play, and you know, I looked up and he was laying flat on the floor.
So trying to shake off the after effects of that stumble by Pat Driscoll. So look at the left side of your screen.
Yeah, he goes down right there pretty early in the play and just stayed there and immediately blew the whistle to try to stop play.
So he made that safe gesture. Was he just kind of having a light moment there, Mike? Just want to make sure that wasn't inspecific to anything.
Wrapped his arms around the bag on a stolen base.
Good to see that he is okay. And play continues, and the Panthers ripping the ropes with a 3. Audie's Tony into double digits with 12. Five straight made field goals by Pitt. Aluma. Beatty missed the 3.
Yeah, they're funneling the ball to him inside the possession, and you know, you got to take the shot. But Pitt just doing a nice job defensively.
And now the Hokies just 7 of 26 on 3-point attempts. That's 27% for the game. Where Pitt is 9 of 22, 41% from beyond the arc. Champagny inside the arc, fouled in the act of shooting by Mutz.
Yeah, Mutz got the foul, and he didn't really need to do it. He had Champagny taking a tough fadeaway jump shot. Just get your hand up and bother it.
It's an 11-0 run for the Panthers to build this lead of 13 with Champagny at the line. 3 for 3 from the line, Champagny. Before we continue, a word from Works.
Works Landroid Robotic Lawnmower. Available at mylandroid.com. The future of lawn care is here.
Justin Champagny at the free throw line. His teammate Xavier Johnson has done the offensive damage tonight. Heavy-handed with 28 points as Champagny converts from the line. 8 points for Champagny.
Yeah, you'd think, you know, you'd say, all right, Pitt, Champagny's going to have 8 points to this point in the game, and Virginia Tech would be happy about that. But Horton, Johnson, and Tony have combined for 55 points of the 70.
Horton 15 points, Tony with 12. Horton's got 4 3-pointers, so does Johnson. Tony has 1.
Hey, watch back door. Stay with yours, Reeves. Stay with yours.
Again, we told you those shooting percentages for the Panthers near the bottom of the conference. 32% 3-point shooting. 10th in the conference, but again, not tonight as Mutz tried to make the move in the paint, and he'll go to the line.
Well, that's where the offensive rebounding kind of offsets those low shooting percentages, so they do get, you know, opportunities within the possession. But I'm sure that Jeff Capel is much happier with shooting 48% than 41% from 3.
31 rebounds in total on the night for Pitt. Plus 3 on the boards.
Aluma and Mutz, I mean, right now, 39 chance to be combined 40 points and 14 rebounds. That's nice production out of those two positions.
Lean with the pressure. Panthers able to break it with 4 minutes to go in regulation. Trying to take out the number 16 team in the nation and snap a 5-game losing streak in the series against Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and it's, you know, Virginia Tech having to stay at home on the perimeter, and that allowed Champagny to work all by himself, one-on-one.
So 10 points, 12 boards. Champagny with a double-double, his 8th of the season. Started the night tied for the lead in that category in the ACC. Three-pointer, Aluma.
That was well defended, too. Tough shot.
He's got 25, Mike. He's closing in on his career high of 29. And you mentioned this earlier as Pitt brings it up the court, and that one will fall.
No foul called on the play, but a good, strong finish.
Coulibaly up and in for his first 2 of the night. 14-point advantage, Pitt Panthers. So a foul coming up against Pitt, but they've got a comfortable lead and inside of 3 minutes to go in regulation. Looking for win number 9. Here's our game summary with the Panthers up by 14 late in the second half. 50% from the floor in the game. Well above their season average, Mike, for the Panthers.
And it's been that third score, and you see Horton and Tony combined for the 27, and you know what? Cone has not scored in this second half. 9 points in the first half, only 2 missed threes here. And Aline is another guy who's struggling. He's a double-figure scorer for you, gives you 10 points a game, but only 3 points on 1 of 8 shooting tonight. And he foul trouble for him, too, in the first half. He had 3 quick ones.
Luma has not struggled. He's now got 26 points.
Second block, don't push in the back. 1.
The 2 guys, you have to lock in on Aluma and Couture if you're looking at 3-point shooters to cover up out on the perimeter.
5 for 5 on the night from the line for Aluma and 27 points.
That's the other best way Virginia Tech needs to get to the line and stop the clock, and a good forced timeout there.
So we'll take a timeout with 2:54 on the clock. 74-62. Panthers up 74-62, closing in on a win to stop a 3-game losing streak. Their win prior to that losing streak was January 19th against Duke, where Justin Champagny had 31 points, 14 boards, and 5 block shots. First player in school history to do that. It's a foul with Tony trying to come out of the corner, getting tangled up with Mutz. Third on Mutz. Panthers, more importantly, Mike, trying to defeat a ranked team for the first time since January of 2019, when they beat Florida State here. FSU was 11th in the nation.
And that's what you know, Mike Young had said to this team is it's quiet and cockiness and enthusiasm, knowing that, you know, we just go out and take care of business and, you know, beat Virginia. We've had some big wins so far. Villanova. This is a confident group.
So Florida State was supposed to be the opponent on Saturday for this Pitt program. Now they're going to travel to Virginia. And the adjustment of the schedule with Florida State on pause for the moment.
I tell you what, your assistants who handle the scouts for the different teams have to be on their toes, because you could be playing somebody you didn't anticipate in 3 days.
You are not kidding, Mike. We've seen that this year. We saw Louisville take a game on short notice at Clemson.
Well, it was Virginia Tech. Mike Young did not want to play Villanova.
That's right. He did say that to us. Like, I don't know what I have this early in the season. And yet, he defeated a number 3 team in the nation. Villanova's still number 3 for the second straight year, because they beat Michigan State last year, right?
No. I think right now he's the prohibitive favorite for Coach of the Year in the ACC.
And even if the score holds, they're still going to be 13-4 and 7-3 in conference play with 2:24 and counting. And Pitt just kind of ran away with that 11-0 run.
And in this closely contested game, that's a big margin to open up.
That was really the decisive spurt, because we were tied at 31 at halftime. So I wonder, Mike, how Mike Young might evaluate this response as Couture knocks down the 3 following the big win against Virginia. Remember, he was a little bit worried about that, as as Capel was after the victory against Duke, and they lost 3 in a row.
Probably. I mean, you know, he's not going to be completely upset. I mean, the game was tied at halftime. You got on the road and you made it a 20-minute game, and it was just that one big spurt. And you know, who had thought, you know, Johnson respond? I talked about some guys don't respond well to not starting, especially when you've started every game in your career. But not the case tonight with Xavier Johnson. He's been outstanding.
28 points from Johnson. And that is just 2 shy of his career high. I know Coach Young had the popcorn to continue the tradition prior to the game. We saw him eating the popcorn. There are many great traditions in the ACC. This is becoming one of them.
Yeah, that's some great stuff. And he said that it's been put on pause, like a lot of things in this year and this season. And he hasn't had access to good popcorn for every game, but that's his ritual before, and it started back in Wofford a long time ago.
17 years, the head coach at Wofford took that program to the NCAA tournament 5 times and 5 SoCon championships. He was 16-16 last year in his first year as head coach.
He grew up a short ride from Virginia Tech, and how about this? When they offered him a job, didn't even ask his wife if it was okay.
Wow, that's confidence.
Yeah, that's confidence right there. That's your dream job.
He's from Radford, Virginia, about 20 miles southwest of Blacksburg. But I think tonight, Mike, the evening belongs to the Pitt Panthers with that impressive second half of play.
And this is a game they desperately needed and responded really well to, I thought.
Tonight you have to say hail to Pitt. 76-65 with 1:37 on the clock.
See that last win against a ranked opponent, Florida State.
On this court, January of 2019.
Yeah,
first year for head coach Jeff Capel.
It's just such a, and Jeff was talking about this, you know, in the summertime, looking at this year, the third year being a big moment for him. But it's been such a crazy year that I don't know if you can really count this as your third year.
Yeah, and the win against Duke was interesting too because he was the only other assistant to ever beat Coach K other than Mike Bray.
Well, he's the only player.
Yeah, player
assistant.
Right, player assistant
to beat Coach K.
Mike Bray has had some success.
Yeah, he's had some very good success.
Right. They had a lot of success against this Pitt team in the last time on the court for the Panthers. Tonight is a completely different story. And that's 30 points. Xavier Johnson. That ties his career high.
And look at that. I mean, just the defensive intensity, even with this big lead, still finishing out the game strong.
Don't forget Johnson is a 1,000-point scorer in a Pitt uniform. Add 30 to his total tonight, so that's 1,098 points in his career. Talked about how Cone could be a factor, Mike, but the second half did not materialize for Jalen Cone.
Didn't really even get good looks. I mean, they took him out of the offense. I think he only had 2 shots in that second half,
Did you do anything to
Xavier Johnson tying the career high with 30 points tonight. The first shot we took of him was sitting on the bench with his warm-up T-shirt on. He put that down and never put it back on again. Maybe at halftime in the locker room, but. So you talked about must win potentially for Pitt tonight, Mike, and they responded to your challenge.
Well, it's not, it may seem like a small thing, but, you know, being 5-4, and I think the thing was, Tom, they lost 2 of those games here at home. And, you know, if you have the normal atmosphere at home, who knows, but that's not an excuse that anybody has this year. But, you know, Jeff Capel knew how important this game was to just kind of get their attitude back where it should be. And now they get, you know, they come off of this and, you know, what test is harder? You get Florida State coming here or going to Virginia? Either way is
pick.
Yeah.
Now, Florida State was also supposed to play against Boston College yesterday. Didn't play that one.
You got Virginia. They had a game against Virginia Tech next week.
Yes. So that's going to affect the schedule. There'll be a trickle-down effect there. The league doing its the best it possibly can, Mike, to try to get these games which have been classified as postponed back on the schedule in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and you know, they did it. Obviously, there were non-conference games that got, you know, just got canceled, but it was critical to get as many conference games played, and you know, an easier task for football because you're only talking one game a week.
Sure.
And you have more options. You can play on a Monday, you can play on a Thursday. But you know, with this season to try to mix and match and shuffle up, it's a challenge, and you never know where that call is going to come from and who they're playing.
So Couture is at the line. He got tangled up with Otakali. There was a foul there. They were trying to get some subs in.
Yeah, and a little, maybe a little too premature to go into the home run trot here.
I think they were trying to get Koulibaly in the game. That's going to be a held ball.
And they called a timeout.
Timeout granted. And Aluma comes up, favoring the right leg.
And Pitt has had an issue getting the ball inbounds.
So Tony will inbounds it. Gassan trying to guard that inbounds play. That is off of Virginia Tech.
I think they're going to call a kicked ball.
All of a sudden, Mike, we've come to a clerical screeching halt here as they're trying to sort things out. With 1:17 to go in regulation, Panthers pulling away in the second half. They're taking a look at this one inside of 2 minutes in regulation. It was called out against Virginia Tech, or the kick ball may be a factor as well, Mike, as you said. But here's, you see the Panthers' upcoming schedule trying to finish things off here.
Yeah, it's okay. It's still Pitt's ball.
Right, it's clearly off of Mutt's kickball or just out of bounds in general. There's the upcoming schedule. And then Saturday, Virginia Tech travel to take on Miami. Their ranks have been depleted. They've been able to win games. They haven't really missed an ACC game. They've kept to their schedule for the most part.
Yeah, Miami, and a big win against Duke after it looked like Duke had gotten things, you know, going in the right direction with 3 wins.
So the official call is a kicked ball by Mutz.
They got 27 seconds left on the game, on the shot clock. This is, Pitt has got to get a little more spread out. I thought they had too many guys below the free throw line and just got bunched up on the inbounds play.
The other wins in that 3-game winning streak for the Panthers before the 3-game losing streak were against Syracuse. An impressive performance. Come from behind win. They also scored 64 points in the second half at home against Syracuse to beat the Orange. Couture has picked up his 5th personal. So Couture will have to leave the floor with 12 points and a couple of 3-pointers. Overall, he and his teammates 9 of 28 from 3, and that's 32%. So both teams hitting 9 threes in the game.
Koulibaly 80%, but that's only 12 of 15 on the year. So good guy to maybe foul in this situation.
Couture fouling out. Koulibaly at the free throw line. 1 of 2. He got plenty of minutes in that game against Notre Dame. 29 minutes for Koulibaly. Final minute of play. Peterson Event Center. So glad that you've been with us. Aluma hoisting the 3. Beatty tried to tap it out. A couple of players got tangled up.
They have, called Horton on the foul, on the block out. I mean, this is exactly what Virginia Tech wants, to try to ugly up this last minute as much as possible, get to the free throw line.
Man, we were just cruising along there, Mike, and
it could be a 10-point game here pretty quickly. And that just for Jeff Capel, that clock is not moving.
That win against Duke for Coach Capel was the 200th of his career. But that was 4 games ago, trying to end the losing streak tonight. So Horton's out. Picked up that last foul. A lean at the free throw line, 86% of the season. And now 1 of 2 on the night from the line for a lean. And you mentioned it, Mike, as Horton, greeted by his teammates in that bench area. A lean, just 4 points on the night, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, you know, against it, they really can't. He's going to have nights like that, and it's not going to be a lot of them.
Yeah, he's a double-digit scorer, over 10 points per game. Just didn't get there tonight.
And it looked like, you know, they had Cone going in that first half.
Gasson picks up the foul, second. Yeah, Cone had made 3 threes in the first half, Mike.
Yep.
So Xavier Johnson's at the line.
See, I mean, you know, the thing with Pitt too, they've got big guards that they can cover out in the perimeter with, and Cone's going to struggle with that.
So Johnson now 5 of 6 from the line, and that point in that first free throw, career high 31, career high 32. Xavier Johnson. If you're joining us late, you know that he normally is in the starting lineup.
Well, and 2, you got your point guard, a big-time scorer, and he's 86% again in the ACC from the free throw line. Huge number.
Inside of 40 seconds to go, and that was Mutz trying to take the rim off its hinges. Champagny, if that's on him, that's going to be number 5. So it was not the usual scoring night for Champagny, but he did get a double-double, Mike, with 13 boards and 10 points on 3 of 8 shooting. He missed all 3 of his 3-point attempts.
Yeah, and he had help. I mean, he had, you know, other guys step up to score. You know, Johnson having a career night, that certainly helped, but Tony was terrific. Horton as well.
Champagny with 2 games this season of 20 points and 20 rebounds or more. Tonight, not quite as productive on the offensive end, but he did get to double digits in rebounds. Gasson enters the fray.
And you don't see a lot of the interior guys have big rebounding nights because the number of 3-point shots that are in the game today, there are a lot of longer rebounds.
Final 35 seconds. Labali kept possession.
That was almost an adventure.
They were swatting at him. Aluma, second personal. Koulibaly to the free throw line. Xavier Johnson, what a night for that young man.
How about 5 rebounds and 7 assists for him as well?
The 7 assists, Mike, leaves him just 2 shy of 400 in his career. So you're talking about a player with over 1,000 points and over 400 career assists as well. Does have a couple of career double-doubles. Probably not going to happen tonight, but doesn't matter because he had 32 points and a career high as Koulibaly.
And this is a guy, I mean, I know he's a junior, but he never played point guard in high school at all. And made him into a pretty good one in college.
Didi. Aluma score the bucket and to the line. 11.4 on the clock.
And that's got to be the quietest 29 points I've seen in a long time from Aluma. When was the last time we saw 2 30-point scorers in a game?
So there you go. The 30 for Aluma, Mike, is also a career high.
He didn't have the help that Johnson did. And it's going to be it.
Virginia Tech will wave the white flag.
Huge bounce back win for Pitt.
83-72 is the final count. Career night for Aluma, but also a career night for Xavier Johnson with 32 points on the evening. And the victory against a ranked team for Coach Capel and the Panthers. They win it 83-72 behind 32 points and a career high from Xavier Johnson after we were tied at 31 at halftime. So the Panthers get their 9th win of the season. And for Mike Jaminski and our outstanding ACC College basketball production crew, I'm Tom Wormy saying so long from Peterson Event Center. It's the Panthers over the Hokies.